No major Bears news today. So we get back into our UDFA breakdowns, and we're going to break down two players that could be incredibly interesting here for the Chicago Bears at training camp that I think bring a lot of good traits, but they're going to have some really quick development. We'll talk about Jayden Loving and Squirrel White on today's episode. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the page. Do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel, only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks, and make sure that you stay in tune with us, man. So Jayden Loving and Squirrel White, two players that I think show some really interesting traits. And if you can find a way to develop these guys, they could be guys that you could see as practice squad and possibly guys that maybe find their way onto the roster at some point in the season, injuries depending. But I think that they are very interesting names to keep an eye on, especially with how we have seen the Chicago Bears unit go out there and this coaching staff go out there and develop these players to be the best that they can. So let's start things off here with Jayden Loving. To me, I think when you talk about Jayden Loving, right, you're not looking at a player who is a finished product by any means of the imagination, but you're seeing the traits of an explosive first step that can turn into something where he finds his way into the backfield. He is 6'2", around 315 pounds here, out of Wake Forest. He had 44 tackles in 2025, 8.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, 1 pass breakup, and also earned all ACC honorable mention, which is kind of hilarious to throw that in there if we're being honest, but I'll allow it when you're throwing accolades on the board, because guess what, with being an honorable mention in the ACC, you're seeing a guy that is proving himself, even though you're not seeing the same skill set time in and time out, which speaks to his motor that I think is something that is probably going to be his best trait here. Now, there are a lot of high motor guys in the building, so you can't say that he's just going to make it because he has a really high motor, that he's going to be able to go out there and get the job done because he has a really high motor, right? But the one thing that I do love about it is it helps him a ton in the run game as a 300+ pound guy. When you look at this guy on tape, I mean, you see him chasing running backs outside of the tackles and being able to hawk them down and catch them. Like, it's kind of crazy to see a big man moving that fast. And I think when you talk about somebody who, if you can dominate with that first step to get underneath the center and be able to attack in the run game, be able to attack the hole, be able to force guys to go the wrong direction, that's somebody that DA probably is looking at and saying, yeah, I can find a way to utilize this player moving forward. Now, some of the struggles that he does have, and I'm listen, I think that right now, if I was looking at Jayden Loving making this roster, I wouldn't say that he has a 100% great chance here. But as far as being a practice squad guy, that depends on him, because there's going to be some things that he has to refine about his game. The one thing that's going to be impossible to overcome is the arm length. We already know kind of how arm length goes at that defensive tackle position. If he doesn't get that first move through, he kind of gets caught there. It needs a little bit of help with block shedding at times. And I think, his pass rush, if you want to describe it as anything, I would say it's more of he's more athletic than most guys are at the level that he's played at in college than he is a refined pass rusher. That's not going to fly at the NFL level very much. And so to me, if I look at a guy like Jayden Loving right now, I would say that he is elite athletically. I would say that he is somebody who is a 3-technique rotational type of developmental piece right now. And depending how much he can develop over his time here, do I see him as someone who can make the practice squad and possibly eventually be on this roster in a pinch start or be a special teams player here? We know special teams is usually the breakdown for if you're going to be on this team or not. Yeah, I do think that he could be somebody who finds his way on that roster, but he probably has one of the highest hills to climb, because we've got the high motor guys. We've got the guys that are going after. And to be honest with you, the defensive tackle room, if you want to talk about a high motor guy, talk about a motivated Daiwa Dangbo, right? Where are you finding your way onto this roster? There are players that are going to be moved out of here eventually after this season, but where are you finding your way onto this roster this year, and what traits can you show to try and stick around? I like Jayden Loving. I don't. I didn't realize I was going to walk myself into this. I don't love Jayden Loving, but I would hope. I hope to see the best for the young man. For me right now, I would say best case scenario for him would be practice squad. Now, Another player here who I want to get into, and hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let me know how you guys feel about Jayden Loving in the comments below. And if you've made it to this point in the video, just drop a bear down there so that I know that you're down there in the comments and that you're tapped in with us, man. Big shout out to everybody who did that on the last vid. That was really cool to see. Squirrel White is another prospect here who the Chicago Bears have picked up. UDFA, he is out of Florida State. He is pure speed, 5'10", 178 pounds. He had 67 catches in 2023, which was his best season at Tennessee, 803 yards, had 2 touchdowns. He was ranking 5th in the SEC in receptions then. And it just seems like, there's been a little bit of a fall off, a little bit of a regression since then. But to me, what he is right now is a true slot receiver, somebody that you can rely on. And here's the one thing that continues to show up on tape. He can facilitate, sorry. He can, I stepped on something down here that my son left down here and it made a noise and it scared the mess out of me, bro. He got bro, it made, I thought I had a frog in the building, bro. Oh, sweet Jesus. All right, let's lock back in. Squirrel White. To me, he's a real slot receiver. I think he's somebody who could be an option for you there. The problem is that room is really jammed up, but as far as, if you want to talk about what Olamide Zaccheaus brought to the building, I think you could talk about some of those similar traits with Squirrel White. He's got amazing yak ability. I think when you talk about a guy who can play on the special teams, you saw him do that in college as well. That separation that he can get as a slot receiver truly is phenomenal, and he's able to give you that talent, like I said, on this special teams aspect of it. And he's proven it at one of the best levels. Now, didn't prove it on a consistent basis, and there, of course, are some things that go into that. I think size and strength are going to be some things that you have to have concerns about. I think the catch radius, he's more of a it's in the body type of catching receiver, right? He's not a guy that's going to go out there and get it with the hands. And you also have to talk about the fact that, the production dipped after his time in Tennessee. You didn't see that, but the traits don't leave. And so to me, I think that that's why the Chicago Bears are looking at a guy like this. Of course, the speed that he puts on display is truly ridiculous. And Ben Johnson seems to be in love with speed, but realistically speaking, at best right now, I just think you have a lot of guys that are at that position. Again, if you're talking about somebody who can make the team in any aspect, I would say right now I view Squirrel White as a practice squad player. Reason being, I've got my slot receivers that are also proven on special teams on the team already. I've got guys that can go out there and can make the most of their opportunities in those situations on an NFL field already. They have scored touchdowns. You look at a guy like Jayden White. Heck, I would say, you're going to have a tough time if you're Squirrel White beating out a guy like J.P. Richardson, who's on the practice squad right now with some of the things that he was able to show in practice last season, right? But that special teams ability, I think, is the one that could be one of the more game-changing abilities. But you got to prove that you can do it better than the Jade Walkers of the world, who have proven that they have that ability. As far as a threat, though, I mean, if you're talking about a motion weapon, if you're talking about screens, if you're talking about a slot separator, punter, kick return type of guy, if you get banged up, this is the kind of guy that you would like to have on your practice squad to call up. And right now, there's no fear that anybody would come in and take him. I think if you have to find a way to get what he had at Tennessee back out of him. And if you can, bro, you might have a player on your team right now that has some really high upside. Because again, think about it. He had 803 yards in the SEC. That's not easy to do. And yes, I understand the production fell off. We don't know everything that happens behind the scenes. We don't know everything that happens with the coaching staff, with the room, right? Did you maybe just kind of fall out of favor in those rooms? And why did that happen? But you've got an opportunity now. And I'll tell you what, he showed a lot in college at one point. I think that it's a guy that is worth taking a look at, and hopefully he's somebody that you can get some production out of. If not, again, we're doing UDFA breakdowns, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? We're getting through the offseason. His rookie mini camp is right around the corner here. So hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. If you made it to the end of the video, make sure you drop a big bed down, and big shout out to Breeze Nation, man, for tuning in and showing love. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below as well on Squirrel White and on Jaden Loving. Do you think that these are two guys that have a chance warranted making the roster, or do you feel like these are more camp bodies that maybe have a little bit of upside and you hope to see what they can be? Because we've seen the Bears go out there and show us some things from some camp bodies. So we'll see what ends up happening if the Bears are able to get the most out of either of these guys and if they're able to show it. But as always, man, we'll keep the UDFAs going throughout the offseason and get to the mini camp invites as well. Y'all stay safe on the Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.